And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
All right, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Always helping you win. We got attorney Jason Kobal joining us back on the program. We'll talk a little work comp law. He's got a defamation case here he wants to discuss and some other interesting stuff out of D.C. politics. Also, we're going to give you a follow-up here on that Tampa man that was at the heart of the guest house and pickleball court saga. He finally got out of jail after agreeing to demolish the structures. So we'll talk about that. City gave a permit. Judge overruled the permit, some kind of crazy stuff like that. So we'll dive into that a little deeper. Also, in Clearwater, you got a $50 million Evo entertainment district coming. It's going to have a lot of cool stuff there, movie theaters, et cetera, bowling alleys, and all kinds of interesting stuff happening there as well. Talked to my friend Bernie Jacques, state representative. He's up at a special legislative session up in Tallahassee. They're working on property tax reform, I believe, is what we're going to see come out of that. So I'm hoping that that will come through and will be fruitful for all the efforts that have been put in by Florida Doge. The Florida Doge running around finding over $2 billion of wasteful and excessive spending. Some of it may be fraudulent. I would think that seems to be the trend in our great country. It only took 250 years to turn all this into a mess of big fraud, right? Everywhere you look, Minnesota, California, even right here in Florida, a lot of fraud. So we'll talk about that. Also, another post on Trump, True Social, he did a post here talking about the American dream under attack, and we'll talk about that, the executive order to ban Wall Street firms from buying up single-family homes. So we'll touch base on that as well coming up on today's show. And always like to help you win in any marketplace. We always do that by featuring our listings on air. It's part of a strategy that helps our sellers win more, sell faster for more money, maximum profit. We've got one of the highest list price to sell price ratios in all of Tampa Bay. We're sitting right at a 98%. The average for all the other real estate firms combined in the MLS is 92. So there's your 6 points right there. So we'll talk about all that coming up here. We got a couple of new listings I'd like to get to here. Let's take a look at one of our listings that we just took in, 3757 East Side Court in Inverness. This is a beautiful single-family home. And, when you go up further north, you get a little more bang for your buck. Your dollar per square foot is going to be a little less. You've got about 1,644 square feet, quarter-acre lot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, brand-new roof installed in 2026. With a transferable warranty, no HOA restrictions. You can bring your RVs, your boats, your four-wheelers, recreational toys there. 3757 East Side Court in Inverness, Florida. Beautiful residential property, beautiful home here. Split floor plan. You've got a beautiful stainless steel appliances there in the kitchen. And you're just about a mile from Gulf to Lake Highway with quick access to shopping, dining, and everyday conveniences. Also, let's take a look at another one, 5830 Portsmouth Drive in Tampa. This one just hit the market, affordable home here, maybe kind of an entry-level home, just under 1,000 square feet, 0.11 lot, and you have 3 bedrooms, 2 bath there. It's a manufactured home sitting on 49-foot saltwater canal lot with access to Rocky Creek, Tampa Bay, and the Gulf of America. 5830 Portsmouth Drive, great opportunity over there, and 33615. Close to your Tampa International Airport, very close. And you can see all of our listings online. Check us out online, and thanks for calling the hotline. We appreciate everybody that reaches out to the show and supports the program and supports our expert contributors and all of our different show partners at consumerqb.com. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. You can search the MLS there and see all of our radio TV show experts at consumerqb.com.
Only in America, dreaming in red, white, and blue.
All right, Jason Kobal back on the program. Attorney Jason Kobal, that is Kobal Law. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, Brendan, always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in and being on the show here. And tell us a little bit about what's new on your side. What are you seeing out there?
Well, I love practicing law, as you know, and there's never a dull moment. And it's, the more you do it, it's amazing. And, I learn something new every day. You see something that, you can't believe. It seems like every day, and more things astonish me. But I had another crazy defamation case that came my way I'd like to share with you.
Awesome.
So this is all about making sure you know your doctors and trusting your doctors and how important they are. But without divulging confidential information, I have a client who is actually a friend of the family and is looking at a possible life or death diagnosis. Questionable if this diagnosis is legit or not, but so he's kind of in the diagnostic testing stage, but it's a very serious condition. And long story short, he gets the testing done, and then his doctor contacts him to go over the results and thinks he hung up the phone. But didn't hang up the phone and goes on like a 2-minute rant to his staff with all this disgusting comments about his sexual preferences, about what he looks like, and he just lies and disgusting talk, and you hear them laughing and whatnot in the background. And then about a month later, it happens again. So, I mean, just utterly ridiculous. And I thought, I'm like, oh, God, who would ever do that? And I look it up, and apparently this is something that happens. And what I found online, there was just a case not too long ago where someone went for a colonoscopy, and they accidentally, allegedly, had their phone recording, and they heard all these terrible things that the doctors were saying about them when they were under, and they actually got $500,000 from a jury for that. But,
wow.
So yeah, if you are, dealing with a serious health issue, you got to make sure you know your doctors, and they know you and you trust them. And if you get an opinion, get a second one and a third one, because, man, it's scary.
Yeah, it is. And I've got, friends that have been in those situations, and they're dealing with multiple doctors. They're on all types of different pain pills, and, it seems like it may affect their memory. So these some of these unscrupulous doctors out there, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great ones, but there's just like any profession, there's a lot of, there's good, better, and best. So you've got to get. So what's your advice to people, Jason? With that being said, what's just kind of your general advice around doctors and those types of scenarios?
Absolutely. My take is don't be intimidated by the white coat syndrome. They're just people like us. You got to try to get to know them, get to know your doctor, get as close as you can, obviously in a professional relationship. But as far as you have to be able to build a trust when you're dealing with something serious like that, your life is in their hands. So, you definitely want someone that you could trust, and to be putting your trust in a doctor like that, and then to hear that's just awful. And I feel terrible, and I will gladly make that doctor pay the piper for my client.
Yeah, there you go. So now you file the next step. You file a suit, and then a jury will hear it, or is it a bench trial? Yeah.
That is actually a defamation case because it's a statement made to another third party, which it's great. It's like the best evidence I ever had. It's all recorded.
Wow,
it's
that's
all
great.
In the voicemail there. Because, usually in these defamation cases, you have to prove, who did they tell and this and that. No, we got all the players right on the same recording. So it's actually very good evidence. But so we'll file suit unless they could, make it go away before then. We'll file suit, and then we go forward with the defamation. And it could actually turn out to be medical malpractice depending on what the medical records say. Like if there's any false information in the records I haven't checked yet. So we'll see. It could be additional claims.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes. There's another recent truth message here, post from Donald Trump. He's talking about, what we talked about a lot on the show is the American dream. Of course, we talk a lot about real estate. My wife, Lindsay, and I own a top real estate team here in Tampa Bay. But he says, as he said in his latest State of the Union address, the American dream of home ownership is under attack. For example, Rachel Wiggins, a mom of two from Houston, placed bids on 20 homes and lost all of those bids to gigantic investment firms that bypassed inspection, paid all cash, and turned those houses into rentals, stealing away her American dream. She was devastated. So, it goes on to talk about other stories like that and how, they're working on that to go through Congress. But we see that, too. We saw that especially, when the market really heated up a couple years back. We would see multiple offers from investors, and then, then it comes down to the seller's decision. It's like, hey, I can take the quick cash and I'm done in 2 weeks, or I can go through a finance situation with a, FHA or a VA buyer, and that's a whole nother bunny trail to go down, because a lot of times people say, that the veterans, the VA loans are harder to qualify, or they're more stringent on the appraisals and things like that. So there's some misconstruction there as well as far as how those arguments are constructed. But when you think about all that, Jason, the American dream, it's the backbone of America. That and small businesses, right? The American dream of home ownership and starting and owning your own business. Jason?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I'm honored to say I'm fortunate and blessed that I live the American dream, and we need to preserve that for our youth growing up. But I mean, what are those big companies that are buying them out with cash? How quick? What did they turn them into, like Airbnbs, or you said rentals?
Some of them do, and some of them just do a short-term or a long-term rental. They'll put them in there for a year or two and rent them out, and kind of play that game.
And I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine that would change. Just like, for example, I've had a couple Airbnb situations where it'll be like the whole neighborhood is a lot of Airbnbs, and it's just it's a different atmosphere than ones that aren't.
Oh yeah, transient. You kind of worry about your kids playing outside. Riding the bikes. I mean, people could be in town from out of the country, out of state, or whatever. And another topic I wanted to get to. There's this talk about potentially suspending the gas tax. Check this out.
Trump pushes to suspend the federal gas tax as he says the ceasefire is on life support. We talked to an economist about the prices at the pump and the health of the job market.
We're getting closer and closer to a point where we're going to have to start fuel rationing, and that is when prices really start to go up, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you got short-term pain. We all feeling a little bit of pain at the pump right now, short-term, but we're squeezing China ultimately. Iran is feeding China their gas and their liquefied, petroleum. So, I think it's a strategic move. We got Venezuela. Cuba's next, I believe, Jason.
Yes. That's great analysis. And so many people fail to realize it's not just about Iran. Like you said, there's other adversaries that rely heavily on the Strait of Hormuz and the oil. So it's not only affecting Iran, it's affecting China. And I think that, I'm biased, but President Trump has been one step ahead of everybody, in my opinion, for the most part. And, he's got to do what he's got to do while we're getting down to the end of the wire here with the ceasefire. And he's been applying the pressure the whole time. And he just needs to finish what he started. And it's funny, you hear the media talk about, how long this has taken. It hasn't been that long. I mean, if you look at, how long we've been in Afghanistan and the other foreign Middle East excursions we got involved with, it's only been a couple months.
Yeah.
So he just needs to stick to the plan and finish the execution, and I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got Nick Shirley over in Cuba. I don't know if you've seen any of those videos. He was over there, and it's interesting to see because Cuba appears to be next. And I've even seen some resurgent talked about one of the provinces in Canada potentially, going to be next on the chopping blocks. We'll see, see how that kind of plays out. Another big story in Florida politics has been the redrawing of the maps. So we've got new maps, and of course Virginia got smacked down by their Supreme Court, smacked down their effort to gerrymander up there. But signed, sealed, and delivered, Ron DeSantis delivers again for the Floridians. Your thoughts, Jason?
Yeah, he's just, he's a great lawyer. A lot of people don't realize he was a JAG lawyer in the military. Governor DeSantis is a sharp guy, and it lost at the trial level, but he knew that the law was on his side, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court of Florida, and he prevailed. So, yeah, he's the man when it comes to the law, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You got to have that. Do you think it may be any truth to the rumors that Trump may have him kind of tapped to be Attorney General?
Could be. I would love that. He's a great guy for it. But yes, I wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Also, the California billionaire tax, man. This is a big story in the news right now with all the stuff happening in California. I got a quick clip here.
Yeah, so what it would do, Georgia, is impose a one-time 5% tax on the total net worth of anyone who was a California resident on January 1st, 2026, and also happens to be worth more than $1 billion.
So that's where they start, right? They started with the billionaires, but, there was some investigative reporting done on that actual bill. And actually on page 27, 29 in there, it was saying something to the effect that it can retroactively go down to the next tax brackets without even a new vote. So they hide that in the back of the, that's another lawyer trick, right, Jason? They hide those things in the deep font in the back or the middle of the document that says, hey, we'll start with billionaires, but then we'll drop you on down to, the middle income earners.
Exactly. Oh, man, I tell you, the legislatures, the state and federal, the deception that goes on is unbelievable. And even executive orders, like I remember back when Biden was president, there was talk about helping the farmers through COVID, and he wanted to pass a law that it was just the black farmers get help first.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's not constitutional. Everybody knew that wasn't going to fly, and it was deemed unconstitutional, but it made it look like he was trying to do that. So that's all deception and political nonsense. But yeah, definitely something we see.
Yeah, it sure is. All right, well, Jason, final thought back to you. How can you help people out there? You got the personal injury side, work comp law.
Yep. Well, like going along what I said about just treating with a doctor and having their trust and vice versa, it's also very critical in your cases. So, for example, in a car accident case, my office, we have control over who you go see, and I only send my clients to doctors I know and trust, and that's the way that system works. So I know they're all in good hands. Whereas in workers' comp, the insurance companies, they have all the power in picking the doctor. So in those cases, it's hard to get a good relationship with your doctor. So those take a little bit more hands-on approach with the client, make sure they're not getting the short end, because you're unfortunately forced to go who you treat with in that system.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's Jason Kobal. Kobal Law, work with him locally here, always supporting the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show. Give us a call at 813-917-1894. Anything we can do to help, we would love to connect you with attorney Jason and his team. They're doing a great job out there, longtime friends of the show. Jason, thanks for calling in. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Sam.
All righty. All right, quick break, right back. Consumer Quarterback Show. Going to jump into this story about the Tampa man that is at the heart of the guest house pickleball court saga. He gets out of jail, and we'll go over some of the details here coming up. It's a kind of crazy story. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Did you know that we buy houses cash? We can close quickly for a all-cash offer on your real estate properties, residential, commercial, even vacant land. We'll buy your property cash. No cleaning, no showings, and no hassles. You can even possibly stay in your home post-closing. Call Brandon at 813-917-1894. Submit the email at consumerqb.com or call 813-917-1894. consumerqb.com. We buy houses cash and fast. Attention business owners, did you know we have 100% financing options available? Our no money down program offers 100% financing for business owners. If you are currently leasing your commercial space, you can purchase real estate for no money down. Additionally, the program offers money for working capital, equipment, and business fixtures. You can even pay off current business debt. Reach out at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com. And that is our 100% financing, no money down program for business owners. We would love to help you buying, selling, or investing in real estate. 813-917-1894. BRimes at kw.com. All right, let me tell you about my friends at Bayview Paints Plus, top tier window, solar panel, and gutter cleaning, Christian company with godly morals. Find them on Yelp, Facebook, and Instagram at Bayview Paints Plus, or call 813-917-1894. Window cleaning, solar panels, gutter cleaning at Bayview Paints Plus, 813-917-1894.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rimes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We're going to jump into the story about the Tampa businessman that is being forced to demolish a guest house and a pickleball court and a pool that he built because his neighbors are complaining about it. And interesting story. We'll jump into it. We got a new listing here at 5841 Southeast 164th Avenue, Ocklawaha, Florida. Ocklawaha, Florida, right here in Central Florida. Great opportunity here. 1,300 square feet, half-acre lot, no HOA, fruit-producing trees, banana, avocado for that sustaining lifestyle. Outdoor lifestyle, you got an outdoor shower there, insulated shed, workshop, and you're close to Moon Lake and a pond with consistent breezes there, making a peaceful setting right here at 5841 Southeast 164th Avenue, Ocklawaha, Florida. Another great listing from the Platinum MVP team. 11101 Sumner Road, Waimama. We got a farm for sale. This is a highly producing vegetable farm with a single-family home. You're producing somewhere around $8,000 a month in vegetable revenue. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,620 square feet, 5-acre lot, just under 5 acres. You got a well-maintained 1,620 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath manufactured home with central air, open layout, and you got a great opportunity there to have a sustainable lifestyle, grow your own food. Great opportunity there. 11101 Sumner Road, Waimama, Florida. Another great listing from Doug on our team. Platinum MVP team.kw.com and our radio TV show experts, consumerqb.com. The weather is sweet. All right, so absolutely ridiculousness here. Tampa businessman Michael Martin, he was released from jail just recently after agreeing to demolish a guest house, pool, and pickleball court that he built in his beach park backyard. A judge previously found Martin in contempt of court for refusing to tear down the structure after a years-long battle with his neighbors, the Babbitt family. Now, check this out. The city actually gave him permits, so this is where I'm lost. It actually... I don't understand how this could happen. While the city of Tampa originally approved the building permits, courts later ruled that the property was not legally buildable, leading to the current demolition order. All right, I got to pause right there and just say, okay, well, somebody made a mistake, and how is that my fault? You know, he allegedly spent around $1 million building those pickleball court, a mother-in-law suite. That's nice, too, if you've seen the renderings there. A spokesperson for the Martins' neighbors, the Babbitts, who sued over the construction in 2021, says the family is cautiously optimistic that the demolition will occur. I don't understand how somebody can force this issue, and how there's no defense there. I mean, if the city gave permits and then the court comes back later and says, oh, no, you can't build there. And then here's the quote from Mr. Martin. He says, I just thought it was kind of crazy town that someone would challenge a city's permit. Martin said, I felt pretty strongly that I was in a position of strength because I went and did everything as directed to. At the very beginning of it, I got an expert to submit to the city. The city had their most tenured person look at it. So it's unbelievable. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous that this could happen. Who knows? Maybe it's in a good old boy system. Who knows what happened there? But pretty crazy story, man. I'd be pretty upset, too. And seems like if there's an error by the county or the city, maybe they should eat that, and it shouldn't be on the homeowner. It shouldn't be on the citizen that output his cash like that. So terrible situation there in South Tampa. Consumer Quarterback Show coming right back here. We're going to be talking with our friend Jared Parker, Regional Economic Consulting Group here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, give us a follow online at Brandon Rimes1 at CQB Show. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com, Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rimes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Jared Parker joining us in studio here. Regional Economic Consulting Group is his company. He is a local economist, a consultant, and founder as well. We'll talk with him, and I want to get into a clip that this New York governor candidate said. It's really interesting the way that there's a stark contrast between him and, of course, Hochul, who's given out billions of dollars to illegal immigrants, and we'll dive onto that. We also want to hit on this story too: $50 million Evo Entertainment District coming to downtown Tampa. We'll touch base on that as well. A couple of hot listings. We'll jump right into it here. Always featuring our real estate properties on air. We've got 9901 Bay Drive. This one's in Gibsonton. Beautiful property listing on the water, on the Alafaya River, access to the bay as well. Bring your fishing boats, jet skis. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,500 square feet. Just under quarter-acre lot, 9901 Bay Drive, Gibsonton, Florida. Open floor plan. Great opportunity to buy real estate. Beautiful property. Screen lanai, extended back deck for sunrise in the morning and sunsets at night. So you've got 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 9901 Bay Drive, Gibsonton, Florida. Great opportunity there in beautiful Tampa Bay. 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor. Another beautiful listing right here in Palm Harbor, Florida. This one is in a boaters community. Bring your boat. Baywood Village, true Gulf front community. You've got your own ramp there in the community. HOA, just $60 there. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 14 square feet. Quarter-acre lot, completely renovated and recently updated as well. Great opportunity. New stainless steel appliances. Gorgeous listing. 369 West Winds Drive, Palm Harbor. You can see all of our listings online and search the MLS at platinummvpteam.kw.com, and you can see all of our radio and TV show experts at consumerqb.com.
Yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
All right, Jared Parker, welcome back, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I like your hat there, the Masters. Did you go up there this year?
No, not this year. I went up last year, though.
Yeah. That's a pretty fun time, huh?
Yeah, we went last day, and we saw Rory do the overtime sudden death round. It was awesome.
That's really cool, man. Yeah. That's like one of the highest dollar per capita sports events, isn't it? Like as far as money spent and everything.
You can tell when you walk in the door.
Yeah.
It's one of the most efficient operations I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, you want to go get food or refreshments or, whatever. You're in and out, no matter how long the line is.
That's good.
It feels like almost immediate. It's awesome.
That's the way it should be.
Exactly. I couldn't imagine an NFL game being like that.
I know, right? Yeah. That's run properly. All right, let's jump into some economics here. So Regional Economic Consulting is the name of your company. And here's from the chief economist at NAR. He says the national economy is not in recession, nor is it about to fall into one. The latest job market is showing more net new job additions, low unemployment, and only 4.3%. The wage growth, 3.6%, to an average hourly of $37.41. In April is modestly outpacing the latest available consumer price inflation in March. Moreover, income growth is easily outpacing the national home price growth and therefore helping to improve housing affordability. Over the past year, over 251,000 net new jobs were added to the economy, with around half of those states losing jobs, and large reduction in federal government staffing, particularly in D.C., Maryland, Virginia. Job growth rates have been consistently solid in North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and the South, and in Idaho and Nevada and Utah. Florida has lost jobs in the past year, though it has been one of the top performers over the past 5 years. So we'll just pause right there and kind of get your take on that.
Yeah, it's right now we're in a weird place with the economy. I don't think I agree with him in the sense that we're not going into a recession. I think there's going to be a slowdown, and we're seeing that now. We're seeing that probably going into at least the end of this year, maybe early next year. And typically a recession is only about 2 quarters, 3 quarters, so you're talking 6 to 9 months. So I just don't see. I agree with him in the sense that we're not going to go to recession, but at the same time, I do think we're going to have a lot slower growth than what we've historically experienced, especially the last 5 years. He is right. I mean, we are seeing wage growth. We are seeing it outpace housing prices. However, housing prices are still extremely high. We did some work for a client looking at the housing markets up in rural Florida, what I call rural Florida. So North Tampa Bay area, so Spring Hill, and then down south to DeSoto. Crystal River, we looked over in there, those areas.
Tula and all that.
Yeah, so, and what we found is a lot of the housing prices are about anywhere from 4 to 6 times local income. When you want a house, you want that number to be about 3x. And so we're looking at 4 to 6x. So we still see this affordability pressure.
Yeah.
And yes, the reason why housing prices aren't growing faster than income is just because they're kind of capped out there at that top. We're not really seeing them necessarily come down yet.
Yeah.
And so that's going to take some time.
And the interest rates will affect that. What about the global shakeup with Venezuela, with what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz, the Iran, and then Cuba about to be, potentially, how that will play out. It's taken over. I don't know how that's going to play out. But what do you see with kind of like the new shaking up of the monopoly board? Like, how's that going to affect us? It seems like the fuel will get better for us, right? The pricing on the oil, the petroleum, that could get better for us and it maybe affect things?
It could. I mean, it's different. There's two markets, right? There's the U.S. market, our internal market, where we do produce more oil than we consume.
Okay.
However, we don't refine more oil than we can consume.
Okay.
Because our refinery system is really geared towards a lot of the stuff we got at the time, the heavy crude.
Okay.
We don't really produce the heavy dirty stuff as much. So you're gonna have you have a little bit of a supply and refinement mismatch. So that has to get solved.
Okay.
The Hormuz stuff, 20% of the world's oil goes through there. They have not closed off 20% of the world's oil. You're still getting about half of that going back and forth. I think the last number I read is between 8 and 12%. So let's just say 10% of that 20%, or 10 points of the 20%. So that's a major supply shock.
Okay.
If you start wearing down
China mostly.
Part of it, yeah, a lot of it's to China, a lot of it's to Europe too.
Okay.
Europe is a large trading partner, and China's a large trading partner of the U.S. So how those ripple effects to, suddenly T-shirts become a lot more expensive to import out of China. Suddenly autos become a lot more expensive to import out of Europe. How is that going to impact things here? It'll impact it. It's just a question of how insulated we are. And luckily the U.S., despite our size and what makes the economy impressive here is that we are a relatively insulated economy. Only about 10% of our GDP is actually import-exports.
Yeah.
90% is domestic. So we have a lot of insulation. We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of manpower. We have a lot of labor. We have a better age structure than the rest of the planet. So if anybody's going to weather it between the three regions, Europe, the U.S., and Asia, it's us.
Yeah.
But what that means in terms of economic slowdowns, in terms of those economic effects of our trade partners declining, we're going to feel something. It's just not going to be in the same degree that.
Well, let me ask you this one. So we're talking with Jared Parker, Regional Economic Consulting Group. I'm your host, Brandon Rimes, talking about the macro economy. How did the tariff decision affect things, and where do you see that kind of shaking out?
So we wrote an article on this, especially looking down at South Florida, and we saw about 30% of the tariff actually got translated over to the consumer directly.
Okay.
That means 2/3 or more than 2/3 of that tariff was consumed by or assumed by supply chain and imports. So they were able to diffuse a lot of that price hike.
Yeah.
But we did see a little bit of an effect. However, the bigger issue when you're going to create an issue in an economy, like when you're going to create a real, I'm trying to think of a good term for it, but a lot of disruption, it's not so much in what the level of the price becomes. So like, if everybody's spending an extra $1 here or $1 there, as long as we consistently spend that money and we don't have a situation where it's $1 today and it's $1.50 tomorrow and it's 25 cents the day after that, a lot of those situations could be planned for. And that's kind of what we saw with the tariff. Now that the uncertainty is kind of thinned out, it's a lot more manageable than what was initially expected. And I think that's why the overall the doomsayers didn't really come to fruition like we had.
Right. They always love to come out, don't they? They love to rear their ugly heads. What about what's going on in New York? I want to play this clip here. This guy, this candidate for governor in New York, he says some pretty smart things. A guy named Bruce Blakeman.
This governor gave away over $5 billion
talking about Hochul
the last 3 years to illegal migrants who've been here for 15 minutes. They haven't earned anything, and it's your taxpayer dollars. Money that could have been spent cutting taxes, money that could have been spent on infrastructure and creating jobs, money that could have been spent on our hospitals, money that could have been spent on our education of our children and grandchildren.
Yeah, he's going off on that, right? I mean, you think about Hochul just running a terrible – you got the governor now, and then you also have Mandani in the city with terrible policies, running away the job makers. And then I think that's why you're seeing this kind of thing happen. This is a page right out of the Realtor magazine. It's you got 50 – Miami's got 50 confirmed billionaires now down there, 23 in Miami-Dade, 23 in Palm Beach, and 4 in Broward. And a lot of the CEOs have homes in Miami, you know, the area. It's the typical names: Bezos, Zuckerberg, Brin, Page, Griffin, Harris, Bravo, and Peter Thiel. You know, so you've got the big names down there, and you got a lot of that money coming out of California, New York, New Jersey. How do you see this playing out?
Well, I'm typically what drives, especially in our case here, what drives an economy is real estate. In Florida, it's real estate tourism.
Yeah.
But real estate is always a massive component, whether you're California or New York. So if you start getting some groups like that leaving, and you get the impacts on the real estate side, it's gonna ripple throughout the rest of the economy. You know, if you don't have ripple
in a positive way, meaning they're going to spend more money on hospitality, they're going to spend more money on
certainly,
hiring, and trickle down is going to be positive.
Trickle down. Yeah. So if I pull, and it's not just the fact that these guys are leaving and selling their house. I mean, I'm not talking to that degree.
Yeah.
I'm talking if you're moving your HQ, which
Yes.
Palm Beach and Miami have been getting a lot of that.
Right.
You start picking up high dollar jobs that are exiting and they're entering Florida. I mean, that's a lot of the growth we've seen in the South is income migration.
Yes.
So when you move your headquarters, that means you're moving a lot of workers. That's a lot of income. And the ripple effect of that, them no longer eating in New York and eating in Miami, trickles down, and it impacts a lot of jobs.
Well, here, to that point that you said, salaries of people moving to Miami, Illinois, 172,632. New York, 164,000. Washington, 164,000. California, 155. Maryland, 143. Connecticut, 140. So the list goes on and on right there at the bottom. You can kind of see it. Salaries of people moving to Miami. I mean, you can kind of see there. But that's the picture, right? Now you've got all of those income earners, you know, spending more money out when they're going out to have lunches and dinners and drinks and et cetera.
A lot of the U.S. GDP, like when we talk GDP, we talk about output. We talk about making widgets. And we really, year over year, we haven't seen a lot of expansion in physical goods that the U.S. has made. But we've had this huge economic growth. And a lot of that growth has been triggered by migration. So what we've been seeing is income migrating from high expensive areas to cheaper areas like Florida. I mean, at one point we were pacing, I want to say $2 to $3 million per minute.
Well, we've got that also up here. Let's throw that one up, Dave, where we're showing New York to Florida. I believe it was the Fox News that did a good job on that. But just exactly what you're referring to is the amount of dollars coming into out of New York. Yeah, so the biggest winners, Florida, plus $20.6 billion, Texas, plus $5.3 billion, South Carolina, $4.1 million. Biggest losers. Now, we're talking about the adjusted gross income losses and gains. States that went for Trump are up $39 billion. States that went for Harris, down $42.5 billion. Does that tell the story or what?
Yeah, it's capital flight.
It's capital flow.
Yeah. And it's when you start creating an oppressive system, and not even like oppressive system in rights or anything, just expense. You start putting a lot of expense there. Capital is going to go wherever it can get the biggest return. And in that case is a lot of these more deregulated states than what we have seen historically. And like to what I was saying earlier about the fact that we had so much money and that the U.S. really hasn't, the economy at large hasn't gotten that much bigger in physical goods. What's been driving all the growth is money movements.
Yeah.
It's the flight of capital from the north and the far west to the southeast.
Yes.
And now the southeast is one of the largest economies in the world,
right?
Bar none.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking, top 4, top 5.
It's almost the opposite of the Civil War. Remember the Civil War? All the construction, all the manufacturing?
Exactly.
And that's one of the big reasons why the South lost.
Right.
Right.
And now the South is the largest, fastest industrializing area.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And you also I hear this metaphor of refugee versus missionary. So as long as those people come out of those states into Florida and they adopt the refugee mindset of, hey, don't go back there, be careful, this is why we left over there. We're so glad we're coming down here to Florida, the free state of Florida, where you have back the blue, you have common sense, no state income tax potentially. I want to ask you that next.
Right.
Or are you going to have that missionary mindset of, oh, we just left that state, but we want to continue to vote that way, and we're going to come down here and we're going to turn this state blue too, man, because of whatever LGBTQ or whatever they hang their hat on. Because when people don't believe in God, they lose their religion, right? They lose their Judeo-Christian values that this country was founded on. And the quote that I always talk about is, when people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. They believe in anything.
Right.
And you add your ism on there, transgenderism, your feminism, your Marxism, all those different isms turn into what they have a love for in their heart, when it's a false premise. It's a non-starter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, I will tell you right now, I mean, I know politically up in Tallahassee, that is a real concern, because we don't know. I mean, we can poll here and there, but it's a different person that moves from California to Florida and a person that moves from New York to Florida. I mean, sure, are you is a conservative in New York a conservative in Florida? That's a good question.
Well, hopefully they see where we're at and what we've got and what they're leaving and all that conversation. We've got to take a quick break, though. But when we come back, I want to ask you about where we're at with the Florida property taxes, the effort to eliminate property taxes. I called my friend Bernie Jacques on the way in. We had a fill-in opportunity for the show. He said, I can't. I'm in session. So I believe they're up there right now. They're in session working out this Florida Doge property reform. I'm going to ask Jared Parker on the flip side here. Regional Economic Consulting coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rimes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Tired of long lines at the airport? Check out Tampa Bay's premier private jet source. I'm Brandon Rimes for Will Smith Aviation. Aircraft management, acquisition, and sales, luxury jet escapes, and packages. Check them out online. WillSmithAviation.com. That's WillSmithAviation.com. Or call the show. I'll put you right in touch directly with Captain Will Smith. AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com for all of your non-woke American-made products. American values, Christian, conservative American values. Say hello to my business partner, Jim McCune at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. Say hello to Shane Socash, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, 4009 Central Avenue, St. Petersburg, online at DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com for all of your precious metals and jewelry design. DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for Jason Kobal, owner of Kobal Law. Kobal Law has been handling injury cases in Tampa for the past 14 years and has a specialized approach focused on limiting client cost and maximizing client profit. TampaWorkCompLaw.com, TampaWorkCompLaw.com. Jason Kobal, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show, personal injury law, and work comp law. Hey, Brandon Rimes here for our friends at TargetSurveying.net for all of your surveying needs. Land surveying firm providing services for real estate since 1992, and they are statewide. Check them out online, TargetSurveying.net. That's TargetSurveying.net. Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rimes. You can reach me at 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. That's consumerqb, like quarterback.com. Buying, selling, investing, or refinancing? We would love to talk to you. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back, Consumer Quarterback Show. Jared Parker in studio. We're going to talk about the property tax reform and that, the possibility or the probability. Will that be on the ballot? What's the choices there? You got to have 60% votes. It'll be interesting to see if it's also maybe a ploy to get people out to the voting booth. We'll see how that plays out. 13451 Hampton Park Court, Fort Myers, Florida, Southwest Florida, close to the beaches. This is a 322, 1883 square feet, just under a quarter-acre lot. Great opportunity to buy a beautiful home. You got a split floor plan here. Recent updates. You got a roof in 2023, AC replacement, that is. You have stainless steel appliances, tile flooring, lighter color kitchen cabinetry, overlooking a lake. You've got a lake view there with a water feature as well. 13451 Hampton Park Court, Fort Myers, Florida. Another beautiful property. You've got a clubhouse, fitness center, resort-style pool, and more. And you're also close to Fort Myers Beach and the Bell Tower Shops. Check out that beautiful listing in Fort Myers. 443 Foxdale Road, Lake Placid. Got another beautiful home here. This is a 222, 1514 square feet, just under quarter-acre lot. Open floor plan, lots of natural lighting coming in. Large kitchen there as well. Spacious primary suite, ensuite, bathroom, and a great opportunity to buy real estate. You have that metal roof on there. Those last a long time. And you got some nice little restaurants and shops there in Lake Placid. You can see all of our listings, PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com, and you can see all of our radio and TV show expert contributors at ConsumerQB.com. All right, Jared Parker, we got a special session going on up in Tallahassee right now. I believe the conversation is centered around that property tax reform. What's your thoughts? What do you think's happening up there?
Well, I think it's kind of a little to your point that you made in the introduction. We just don't know, and it could be anything, which is a tough answer to give. But I do think there's interest in getting it through, right? There are definitely districts that sit there, and obviously we can see the affordability crisis, and we see there's a lot of individual momentum to sit there and provide some kind of relief. However, the biggest challenge that the House and the Senate are dealing with is how we're going to pay for it. If you sit there and you repeal $18 billion worth of local government funding, you're going to have to find that money somewhere. And that's something that's going to be really difficult for the House and the Senate to figure out.
What about the people that say we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem?
I think, sir, it's district by district. It's county by county. It's city by city. Mm-hmm. So, sure, there's some places that are bad apples, or there's some places that are not doing themselves any favor. Absolutely. But I don't think that's a consistent situation for everyone, and people are going to have a problem. So let's say it's not $18 billion. Let's say it's 50%. Let's say 50% of the districts are doing great. You still need to find $9 billion, and on a $117 billion budget that's already primarily allocated to education and healthcare and all those other items, it's tough to find $9 billion.
Didn't DeSantis have a big surplus though?
For 1 year. So we're sitting on about $14 billion of reserves.
Yeah, so we got some nice reserves there.
We have money there. But what's going to happen, the worry is that this is a homestead property repeal, right? And if it's just a homestead property repeal, that means non-homestead, that means the second homes and all that are going to now get an influx of tax increase. That means commercial properties are getting an influx of tax increases. And that is that a trade-off?
Well, here, I think there's a couple things you can do, because I've heard a couple things kicked around. Mm-hmm. So primary residences only, of course, not commercial, not industrial, not vacant land. All those are outside of that. Now, what if you draw a line at the very top? You got those 300, $3 million and up properties, or $5 million,
exemptions,
whatever that number is, right? Figure out a number somewhere, maybe. That way, it at least protects the middle class, your overwhelming majority.
I like the exemption idea. Yeah. Sit there and start expanding the exemption, because a lot of the tax base is concentrated. It's a 80-20 rule. 20% pays 80%.
Yeah, in Miami-Dade, that area we just mentioned, there's going to be a lot of expensive homes down there, and they could continue to pay.
And I think that would be more of a digestible solution, right? But that's not what's on the ballot. It's a full repeal. So the question is, how do you deal with the reality, which is that full repeal?
Yeah.
And it's like it gets people.
How about stop spending all the money? How about a $7.5 million sidewalk, 1 mile stretch of sidewalk in Jacksonville? That was the one, $7.5 million for 1 mile of sidewalk.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what Florida Doge found.
How about we just approach realistic spending benefits.
I love it.
And we wouldn't be there.
Jared Parker, find him online, regionaleconomicconsulting.com. regionaleconomicconsulting.com. Please go out there and make it a great day. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rimes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.